Hey everybody, and welcome to an easygoing wild ride with Steve-O. This guy, Hardy, is the easiest guy to get along with, man. What a cool dude. And it's like the first time we met, feel like I've known the guy forever. And just very candid. A few times when he says, ooh, I shouldn't say that. And then he does. So you know this is going to be a great episode. It's like your best buddy that you haven't even met yet. So let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the universe, I bring to you an American treasure, a country music icon, Hardy.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That's sick.
Man, okay, so I've got all kinds of questions. I feel that I've diligently prepared.
I'm sure, dude. I noticed you followed me like 30 minutes ago. So I was like, okay, that's cool. He's doing he's preparing super hard right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, dude, let me follow this guy.
Thank you for doing that. That's
and then
really
I saw
nice.
you were already following me.
Yeah, of course.
Like epic, dude. That's
Yeah,
killer.
man.
Okay, so you were born in Philadelphia.
Mississippi.
Yep.
Yes,
and
sir.
I currently live in Portland,
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's fun, man. We're like, what is even up with that, dude? Why would they name a city in Mississippi, Philadelphia, and why would they name a little town in Tennessee, Portland?
You would think it'd be like, it's too late. Like, there's
You know how
already one.
There's so many of those, though. Like,
Yeah.
everywhere. Not like, for some reason, I feel like maybe just because I'm from the South, but like there's Rome, Georgia. There's a Paris, Tennessee.
Oh, dude,
Athens, Georgia.
yeah. I mean, it goes on and on and on. There's Nashville, Indiana.
Is there actually?
There's a Nashville, Indiana.
Cool.
And it's not even that small of a city.
I wonder how many Philadelphias there are in the country.
Yeah, that's one I would assume there's only one. You know,
Right.
like, is there another like is there like New York, New
That would
Mexico
be-
or something?
New
Fucking
Mexico.
insane.
I wonder.
Is there a new New York?
How many cities are
Yeah,
called
the newest.
Philadelphia? There are 12 places
No way,
named
dude.
Philadelphia in America.
Illinois, Indiana, a lot of Midwest. Oh, there's a Philadelphia, Tennessee.
Wow. I mean, dude, there you go. Okay, so in the spirit of that, how much difficulty do you run into with sharing the name Hardy with so many people? I mean, you're the only one word Hardy, but
You mean like with other celebrities?
yeah, like Jeff Hardy, the wrestler
dude.
guy.
So when I got COVID at like the height of COVID, right? Like 2020, like the summer
White
of 2020, right? And like a couple months later, I got a call from a nurse. I don't know how she got my number, but I could tell it was legit because she was like, Southern girl, had a Southern accent. It seemed very not sketchy. And she was like, I was like driving back from a duck hunt or something. And she was like, would you mind answering a few questions for me? We're just trying to get research. I think it was like she worked for the hospital maybe I went to when I had COVID. And when she asked for my name, she was like, and I was like, this was like my maybe second year as like a singer. So like I'm starting to maybe get recognized a little bit and shit like that. And she goes, wait a second. Your last name's Hardy? And I was like, oh, here it comes. And she goes, are you a wrestler? And I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
it happens for sure.
And there's I mean, I feel like I don't know that I'm blanking out, but in trying to like research you, like it was kind of felt like I was swimming through Hardy's.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, there you go.
Hardy.
He's like
Yeah.
the other big one, right?
Yeah,
And then you got Ed Hardy, like the
that's like a fashion
t-shirt
line
guy?
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's more. All right. So you say that like you're a couple years into being a singer in 2020. I'm fascinated by this that you went to college for songwriting.
yeah.
I've never heard of that. Like I've never ever heard of anybody getting a degree for songwriting at a university.
It was kind of a new thing back then, and I guess I assume it's gotten a little bit more popular. The only place that I had ever heard of it, are you familiar with Belmont here? So
Not so much.
It's like
no.
right up the road, but it's like insanely gorgeous campus, but it is like Nashville's music industry college. and they, I think, were the first people, at least in Tennessee, to do like a songwriting major. But I couldn't get into Belmont, so I went to MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University, the biggest university in Tennessee. And but yeah, and you know, like you do take a class on that, but that's why they call it Murder Kroger, baby. This is more like aggravated assault Kroger. The one across town's a Murder Kroger.
Yeah, we're in the parking lot of a Kroger right now.
Yeah.
We're not live, are we?
yeah.
Come in.
No.
But you learn a lot about, like, the one thing that I really credit, like, that whole experience was I moved here and immediately went to school. So, like, I had no music industry. I had no street knowledge of the music industry. And there were a lot of really cool people and professors and stuff that, like, basically, in layman's terms, like, they really taught you how to, like, not get, like, to learn how to speak the language or not get fucked in like a record deal or like a publishing deal and like stuff like that. And I really learned how it worked and how the music industry really worked. And I felt like my professors were all like very seasoned people that had good and bad experiences and just were really well versed in not just the music industry, but like the Nashville scene. So they shared a lot of stories and a lot of things and people and certain types of people and this and that to stay away from. And yeah, so I technically did major in songwriting and I took songwriting classes, which was kind of a bizarre experience, but you know, it was good for learning about the industry as a whole, you know?
Yeah. Where is Middle Tennessee State University?
Murfreesboro. It's like
oh wow, okay,
45 minutes south of here.
Yeah. That's like kind of the fancy pants area. It's not far from Franklin and
I don't know if it's fancy pants. It's
well, Franklin
is definitely is. Yeah. Franklin is like Williamson County and then Murfreesboro is Rutherford County. It's not bad though. I actually just went back in May for the first time in 10 years since I graduated to give the commencement speech.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first, it was very surreal and it was really cool. It was kind of my first time driving back through like the campus and seeing the city, and it's kind of blown up a little bit, but I got to take my wife and my family down there and it was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that shit, bro.
I gotta tell you, every single person who I mentioned that we're gonna record this show with you basically freaked out. Like, no way, Hardy. Like, really, you are a beloved American treasure. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, even to earlier today, I've got this new dog. I named her Moon Pie. She's like a little pit bull, and she's just got way too much energy. And she's like jumping up in the air, and I'm thinking, oh, I could catch her in the air. That'd be like a cool trick we could learn. So, like, I got her, I'm like getting her all riled up, and she's jumping. And I successfully caught her one time. I thought, oh, this is great. I kept trying. And then, like, our last attempt, it was just a clash of heads. Like, her teeth directly into my teeth. I straight broke this. She broke my tooth, like, just in half. One of my front teeth. And, I'm got the dentist is kind of a buddy, especially of my neighbor who drove the bus here. And I texted to him, and he said, dude, get in here, let's x-ray it. And so I go in there, and they're like, you know, how long do you have? I'm like, dude, I got to get out of here. I'm recording a podcast with Hardy. And they're like, are you serious? No way. We can't make you late for that, but we've got to fix it. I already got my tooth fixed.
That's real? That happened today?
That literally happened today.
That's really cool.
Like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, no way. Check it out, dude. That's today. And then there it goes.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. And so they took off. It was a fake tooth. It's called a crown, and so it's built onto like the real tooth, but the real tooth is all ground down.
Yeah.
And so they numbed me up. They like whatever, like sawed off, like sanded off, like the other one, and they made a new like temporary crown.
They did it right there, and they did it within an hour.
Within 30 minutes.
Damn! Shout out to that guy, man. That's pretty gangster.
Dr. Dave, he said, dude, I'm not going to be the one who made you late for Hardy.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, man.
And it was like a tooth-to-tooth collision? It was
a straight tooth-to-tooth collision. It was so gnarly. And the culprit just doesn't even feel sorry about it. I gotta be careful what I do with this dog near my teeth, but I never have to worry about putting my fume next to my teeth. My fume, this air flavoring device, is the good habit that you want to pick up when you're looking to drop a bad habit. It's got these great flavored cores. There's no electric component. There's no chemical component. There's no addictive component. It's just flavored air, and it is a great way to drop a bad habit by replacing it with a good one. And if you're looking to do that, to clean up your act and get rid of that nasty habit, then go to tryfume.com and use the promo code STEVO to get a free gift with the purchase of your journey pack. The journey pack is everything that you need to get on your road to a healthy and happy you, minus the bad habit. So one more time, tryfume.com, use the promo code STEVO for a free gift with the purchase of your journey pack. And let's get back to it. Yeah, so that was today. And yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Right there in Gallatin.
They're in Gallatin.
Well, my dentist is in Gallatin.
Yeah, cool. I like Gallatin.
I'm like 15 minutes away from Gallatin.
Is that all that Portland? That's all. That's as far as it is from there. I know it's like north of here, but I'm not really sure how far.
Like when I was looking for my place in Tennessee, wanted to be near Nashville. You know, I wanted to be out of the way, but not too far out of the way, so I could be like kind of in the mix on a cool poppin' city. And my criteria was within an hour's drive of Nashville International Airport. So that makes a circle of a radius with an hour drive.
Yeah, sure.
Everything we looked at initially was kind of, southwest, like where all the fancy stuff is.
Yeah.
And there was one, and nothing we saw was good. Then there was this one outlier property, like an hour north.
Yeah.
So that, and it was perfect.
That's cool, man.
I love it.
There's so many cool, it's insane if you kind of like, if you're like me, I like with no intentions at all, I'll just like Zillow, just zoom out and zoom into places and just see what's just because. And
Zillow porn.
There's Zillow porn for sure.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot. It's insane how many cool like properties there are not far at all from town.
Right. I mean, dude, I've got a neighbor across the street who's got like 100+ acres that he bought so long ago, and
it was dirt cheap back then too,
dude. 100%, man. It's crazy. Okay, so now according to your Wikipedia, it says that after you graduated from Middle State University, after graduation you took a trip to Nashville, which was when you realized that you could make a career out of country music.
So it actually, damn, do y'all run my Wikipedia page? Tracker's like, there. So it actually was before. It was like the spring before, the spring of like 2010, and I came up here on a whim.
Yeah, that's when you met the Georgia Line folks.
Yes, sort of. So my sister moved here before. My sister moved here 2 years before I did. She was a singer. She was an aspiring singer. She still is. She's an incredible singer, but it didn't happen for her. And she does her own thing now, and she does well. And it's a whole, just she does her own thing. But she introduced me like the week that I moved to Nashville to the Florida Georgia Line guys, and it was right before their song "Cruise" came out. So it was like that was like their first. They had a few like small releases before them, but that was like their really big. Obviously, everybody I think knows that song. I mean, it was like huge, and and I don't know. I remembered meeting them, and my sister at the time was interning for Big Loud Records, which is now like my record label. And,
sure.
And she introduced me to the guys, and we kind of hit it off, and then we lost touch for a long time, and of course, they just blew up, dude, and I was like a nobody. You know what I mean? I just didn't have anything going on, and I know how that goes, especially now. Like you get you get you have songs that blow up, and then you get a different number and yada yada yada. But basically, long story short, like years later, I wrote some songs with a songwriter that they signed, and this was probably 6 years later. I had not talked to either one of those guys in 4 or 5 years, and I get a phone call that basically says, "Hey, FGL, Florida Georgia Line, they saw your name on a couple of these songs that they really like, and they'd love to have you back out or have you out on the road to write songs with them." And it was Tyler Hubbard who was the lead singer. He was like, I heard they were like, "Tyler remembers you. He just wanted to let you know, like, he's proud of you, and it's cool to see you have come this far, yada yada yada." And anyway, that moment of like going out on the road and writing with them like changed my life, because I started out as a songwriter, so
yeah,
that's
and they're
all I did.
artists. So you go on the road with them,
Yeah.
but they're artists, and you're on the road with them, and you're writing songs for Morgan Wallen and shit.
Anybody. I mean, that's the cool thing about those guys. They also started as songwriters, and they were just hustlers. So like, you just wrote the best song that was in the room that day, is what they always say. And whether that turned out to sound like an FGL song or a Morgan Wallen song or what, it just went to whoever. But those guys at that point in their career were so well connected that like, you never, whatever song you wrote, you just never know who they would send it to. And
wow,
it was cool. I mean, I was broke as shit and like had nothing going on yet as a songwriter. Like, people barely knew who I was, and they took a shot on me, and it was cool. It was a very pivotal kind of 90-degree angle in my career.
The first song that you wrote that became a hit was a Morgan Wallen song.
Yeah, it was Up Down.
Yeah,
that was his first number one as a singer, and my first number one as a songwriter. It was really special.
Sick.
Yeah, man.
Going back to like before, like your audition, or your not audition, but you're trying to get into college for songwriting. So was the goal, like, you're in high school, you're like, I'm gonna grow up, I'll be a songwriter?
No,
or was
hell
it like
no.
eventually I'll be like an artist?
Dude, it all was like that. So when I took that trip to Nashville, it was like me and three. So I had graduated high school. I was going to a junior college in Mississippi, like 20 minutes from my hometown. And the four of us decided that our parents were like, "Yeah, go ahead, have fun." That we would come up and stay with my sister in her apartment and just like go out. We were probably 19 or 20 years old, and go out and like just experience Nashville. I had been up here maybe one time, but it was when I was like 16, and didn't party or anything then, or not a whole lot. And long story short, when I got up here and like we would go to this bar and I would watch this band, and then we went to this show and saw this band, and just I realized like how much like music was just like everywhere, and there were so many talented people and so many people that you could learn from and work with, and it was like a light bulb moment. When I was in junior college, I was a liberal arts major at a junior college in Mississippi, dude. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and it was like a light bulb moment for me. I don't hate my hometown at all. I wasn't dying to get out at all. I still love my hometown, but
Philadelphia.
I love Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Go Birds.
But I did. I just kind of moved up here on a whim, and then for the longest time, I just wanted to be a songwriter, because that's such a huge industry here. I mean, it really is. Like, I don't know how many there are now, but I know a few years ago there were, I think, 300, 400, 500 signed songwriters, and you just get paid a salary to write songs and pray to God that somebody records one and puts it on the radio. That's pretty much the meat and potatoes of it.
When you're sorry, Steve. When you're doing that, are you getting a piece of the song too, or just the salary? If your song becomes number one, you're also going to get like
it depends
a
on
share?
your deal, but like typically a very standard beginner publishing deal. They teach this in school. This is one of the things I learned. But if you consider a song, instead of 100%, you look at it like it's 200%.
Sure.
Right, and there's a writer share and there's a publisher share. So when you sign a publishing deal, a lot of times you will give up 100% of the publisher share because your publisher takes that, and many times you also give up 50 or 25% of your writer's share, and you collect like what's left.
Got you. To the artist is what that 75% is.
No, that also just goes to your publisher. It just depends on how bad you want a publishing deal.
Wow.
If you think you're really good or you are really good, maybe your law, if you have a good enough lawyer, they can negotiate where you get 100% of at least your writer's share. But usually you always give your publisher share to your publisher.
Got you.
Publishing, help me understand the difference between writing and publishing. Like
It's the same exact thing here.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, say, for example, everybody's heard of Taylor Swift, and she had this beef with Scooter Braun.
Yeah.
She said, screw that guy. I'm going to re-record everything.
Right.
That's because Scooter Braun owned the masters,
That's records.
not the publishing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So there's publishing, and then there's records, right? There's publishing companies, which is basically like publishing label, and then there's a record label, and one essentially owns the recorded version of a song, and one
God.
owns the actual song, and there is a difference between the two.
Oh my God, dude. Boogie Nights. You might own the tapes, but the magic that is on those tapes, we own that.
That's kind of the same thing. It's
is.
weird how, like, the songwriters own the lyric and the melody that can just exist if you sat down and played it with a guitar. But the label owns the recorded version of that lyric and that melody.
Which is the master. Owning stuff is the way to be in charge of your business. And the way to be successful in your business is Shopify. Shopify is the gold standard for website when it comes to integrating all of the components of e-commerce. Plus, it's the gold standard for making the most professional website the easiest way. I mean, there's nothing to it. And if you want to try Shopify, no matter what size your business is, you're going to take it to the next level because it's so easy to integrate every imaginable component of e-commerce. And if you want to try it for just $1 per month, which means you're risking nothing and you stand to gain everything, then go to Shopify.com/Stevo and make sure that's all in lowercase letters. Again, this is the gold standard for e-commerce. It's the way to rocket your business to the next level. And man, before I was on Shopify, it was a struggle. Ever since I was on Shopify, it's been a joy. So get that $1 per month trial period going by going to shopify.com/Stevo and make sure that's all lowercase letters. And let's get back to it. I heard you talking to Bert Kreischer about this.
Yeah.
And I loved that whole conversation, the drawing all the comparisons between writing jokes and writing songs. And
yeah. That was really, I enjoyed that, the whole podcast, but I really enjoyed digging into that.
For sure, man. I particularly, just sort of latched onto that as far as, finding it compelling. And you described that the idea for a song cannot be copyrighted. Like, you said you can't be sued for the idea of a song.
Yeah. I think you can. I think that some ideas, I think you can win a lawsuit, but in theory, as of right now, as far as I know, the only thing that you can be sued for is copying
a melody, like notes. You said that
it's like seven notes in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is so insane because there's only 7 notes in music. Technically, that's what people say, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Well, right. I mean, like everybody can remember the Vanilla Ice versus Queen.
Yeah, Under Pressure.
No, but it was dun 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 dun.
Still 7 notes, but yeah, no, you're right. that definitely did not hold up in court. What's the other one? Was Rick James and MC Hammer?
Okay.
Can't touch this.
Yeah, that sounds right.
There's been a lot throughout history, and nowadays, if you want to do that, you basically call it an interpolation, and then you track down the writers and you give them. Usually, if it's a big classic, let's say I wanted to like write a song that was all over a Steve Miller Band song, you would call the writers of that song, and then they would be like, "Okay, we'll give us half of it," and then you do that. I'll give you a good example. Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails, actually. I'm almost positive, owns half of. You remember Old Town Road, the Lil Nas X song?
Sure.
Because that was like a 9 Inch Nails song.
That was like a sample.
It was, but I think, you know what? And don't quote me on this because I'm not sure. But if you looked up the writers of that song, I'm almost positive that he is also included as a writer on that song.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
I mean, there's definitely with sampling. There's definitely some legal claim What was
Well,
the
sampling is like you're taking the master and you're plugging
right,
it in,
right.
you're using
Yeah.
it. So like that's a little more like kind of explicit.
There's a lot of really weird, gray, writers.
Well, that's what was so weird about Pharrell with the blurred lines. Like,
Oh, yeah.
because that was it was like the idea of the song. Like it was like similar drum groove, same kind of vibe, reminded you of the Marvin Gaye song, but he didn't steal the Marvin Gaye song. But Marvin Gaye's family still successfully sued him for it.
Yeah. There's something about a sonic idea, meaning a musical idea, that is, for some reason, it's easier to sue somebody over that than it is a lyrical concept.
Man, it's crazy. Like, I wonder in comedy with joke stealing.
Yeah.
If, like, you got to worry about Joe Rogan showing up at the comedy club and beating you up on stage like Carlos Mencia. But I don't think you have to worry about actually being sued.
Huh. Has anyone ever been sued for like stealing a joke?
Or I wonder if there's a law in place for it.
Yeah, I wonder.
There should be.
Well,
Like some sort of copyright law.
It's
I
really
agree.
tricky because the words will be different. So,
See,
like,
that's
how do you
the
exactly
idea.
it's the same way as like the concept of a song.
Right.
A murder ballad, and you freaking killed a guy for beating up a girl. I have a song about that. I'm sure there's other songs like that exist. So I'm sure like there's like a model that exists that's like there's only like 7 different kinds of songs you can write, and it's like man versus man, but man versus machine, man versus nature, man versus woman, and then it's like woman versus woman, like the same thing. But it's
I
like
don't know. I think you can write more songs than that.
man versus.
Well, there's Poke the Puss. That was Steve's rap song that he did.
I haven't heard that. We should.
But that was man versus God or something. I don't know what that is.
It might be man versus nature, dude.
Yeah, I think it was.
I mean, Poke the Puss is a little bit man versus woman.
I mean, it's probably similar.
Honestly, you're the only guy that's done both.
Yeah. Okay. So in this whole spirit of rights to music and stuff, you were talking about the song Rednecker. Mm-hmm. Like having a discussion of like the extent to which one can be redneck, and a guy says, "Oh, I'm rednecker."
Yeah, I'm
Like,
rednecker than you. That was like
an adjective, right? Like that's a type of adjective.
I believe so.
yeah. I think in that.
Well,
yeah,
redneck is an adjective, but then it's a degree to a greater extent.
It's funny. Redneck can be a verb or a noun or an adjective, which is kind of wild.
Right. I think a lot of words can.
But yeah, that happened in Colorado. We were
On a writer's retreat, and somebody says, "I'm rednecker."
Yeah, me and 2 other guys were just stoned out of our fucking gourd and sitting in a corner, and
I love this story, man, because like immediately it like the light bulb went off. You guys all knew that, but you're at a writer's retreat with like maybe a dozen people.
yeah, and it was even maybe more, and it's like a room like I think we were watching football, and it was so quiet, like everybody was just sort of like it was a hangout thing, but we definitely like looked at each other and we were like
Realized
nobody.
this is
We
something.
scanned the room to make make sure nobody heard that, and we. The Homer Simpson like gif where he backs into the bushes, and we all just faded into a writer's room and we wrote that song.
Yeah.
that day.
Wow.
Particularly or specifically, the fear being that if it was said out loud and then somebody else like acknowledged it and said something, then they would have like a claim to be saying, "Oh no, I was in on that writing session."
For sure. I think more than anything, the 3 of us were just so broke at the time that we just were trying to minimize the amount of writers so that if the song ever made any money, we would make more money than if there were 4 or 5 people on the song or whatever.
Sure. I mean, I have the same thing, the same feeling. If somebody says like, "Oh, like, I've got an idea for you," like, "La la la la," I don't want to hear it because if it's a good idea, then like, then everything gets all murky and.
Dude, that's a thing that happens a ton. When somebody will be like, "Oh, I have an idea called Truck Bed," which is like a song of mine. So like if somebody were to pitch that idea and they had never heard that song, let's say the song hadn't come out yet, I would be like, I already have a song called Truck Bed, and that person is likely to be like, "Well, I don't want to hear it because I might want to write mine."
Right.
Just in case somebody else records it over here and it becomes a hit before yours does. I mean, and it's not even like like a harsh. It's not even like it's competitive, but like I do that with like my best friends. You know what I mean? That's just part of the game that you play. Is like, whoa, I don't play it for me. Don't even tell me how you wrote it because I like my idea and I'm gonna go write it with somebody else.
Right.
Which is similar to comedy too. If someone's like, dude, I got a bit about this, like, don't let me. I don't want to hear that bit because I got a thing going too, and I don't want you to like. I don't want to accidentally rip your thing.
Okay, so you have a song, Rockstar.
Yeah.
Nickelback has a song, Rockstar.
Correct.
Is this the same situation as what you just described?
No,
Or
because
it's the same
I
song?
like solve that problem in the song. So literally, the song it's a very self-aware song, but it talks about like the idea of the song is like everybody's got a song called Rockstar, and lately I've been feeling like one, so I wrote one too, and that's so it definitely talks about, you know, there's like I ain't saying that I'm Nickelback kicking it in Cali with today's who's who, but everybody's got a song called Rockstar lately. I've been feeling like one, so I wrote one too. Yeah. So I just it's like a, you know, I just wanted to address the problem so that people weren't like, man, everybody's got a fucking song called Rockstar.
Yeah,
you know?
you're like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
say.
Yeah.
And
I love
so
that.
then you got together with Nickelback, like around a TV show.
Yeah, CMT, right? Yeah, CMT does a thing called Crossroads. It's actually really cool. They take a country artist and they take an artist from a different genre. It could be literally anything, and they sing each other's songs all together, like on stage. It's really cool. I think like
And so you guys did a mashup of your two songs together.
you know, somewhat, but really they weren't. And that's funny because in my head, like I thought they were mashups, but really what it was is you just play the song, and like Chad and I basically would just trade off lyrics. So like he would sing half of one of my songs and I would sing half of it, and then of course I would sing half of a Nickelback song and then he would sing half of it.
Did you watch? I think it was a pretty recent documentary about Nickelback, and just
Hate to Be Loved. No, what? Yeah, what's it called?
Yeah,
Hate to Love Nickelback.
You know, like it's just really upsetting to see how dirty they got done.
It's wild that the world, the second that you are like the best, it's like everybody turns on the hater thing.
There's
It's so crazy.
I just
Some
don't-
people.
I'm not sure that there's ever. Is there an example of
Somebody
like,
that everybody loves.
What? No, is there an example of an artist or a band or any kind of a high profile, you know, entity that all of a sudden it became really cool to dislike?
Jar Jar Binks. When
Damn.
Jar Jar Binks first dropped, that shit he was the best. Like, we're kind of the same age.
I
Like,
guess
you remember when you
Vanilla
first saw
Ice,
that?
maybe?
Yeah, of
that,
course.
That Phantom of the Menace? We all loved Jar Jar Binks. Now it's like he's the least cool character ever.
But I mean, just
That was a really quick answer. Did you guys prepare that? Because that was
But I
fast.
often think like, dude, wow, we really turned our backs on Jar Jar Binks.
Like,
When
is there
this first
somebody
came
that
out,
was-
we loved him.
Somebody that was like loved in that, and could Kanye? Could you say like?
well, but the thing
But
is,
do people really hate Kanye? People don't
I mean,
hate Kanye.
Not like Dave Matthews Band a little, or like Jack
no,
Johnson.
not
Like
Dave
people
Matthews
turned
Band.
on him.
Even nobody hates Dave Matthews Band.
A lot of people hate Dave Matthews Band.
Bite your tongue. But the Kanye doesn't count either, because if you've actually perpetrated something to make people legitimately dislike you, then that shouldn't,
doesn't count.
It shouldn't
It's
count
void.
in this conversation.
Yeah.
See, Nickelback didn't do anything wrong.
No.
They were loved, and then all of a sudden someone decided it was cool to not like them, and you can't point to anything that
There
they
was no
did to
public,
deserve.
like-
Yeah, there was no scandal, no anything.
Yeah.
They were too popular, too likable, too mainstream.
That's wild to think about.
I can't think of another example of that. It is difficult to think of an example of people being done dirty like that. But let me give you an example of a company that does nobody dirty at all. In fact, they only even manufacture their goods in fair trade factories around the world, and they only use organic and recycled materials. This company is called Outerknown. It was started by the GOAT of surfing, Kelly Slater, and his commitment to making dope ass clothing and doing no harm, just being kind to people in the environment is second to none. I can't think of an example of a company that does it better than that. And if you want to wear these dope ass clothes, look your flyest, and know that you're doing right by people of the world and the world itself, then you can go to outerknown.com/Stevo and use the promo code Stevo at checkout for an entire 25% off your whole order. And that's not just your first order. That's all the time. If you are a friend of the Wild Ride podcast, then you're a friend of Outerknown, and you always get 25% off your order if you put in outerknown.com/Stevo and use the promo code Stevo at checkout. Support Outerknown, support the podcast, look fly, and do right by the world. Now let's get back to it. You know, maybe Vanilla Ice.
I mean, in the country world, can I say that? I feel like Florida Georgia Line paralleled Nickelback with that a ton, and people started, once they were at the tops, just kind of started poking fun at them a little bit.
Okay.
What? and definitely there was no public any sort of scandal whatsoever. That's on a different scale than Nickelback. Obviously, the Nickelback was like
Nickelback
worldwide,
was
but
stadium scale.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's a really good point, though, man. I can't think of anybody else that like has
Didn't do
never
anything.
done something to piss the public off to
Right.
make them hate them.
And like in that documentary on Netflix, just like the extent to which it became mainstream, like to make fun of Nickelback. Like it's got like so many pop culture references just bashing them, like on The Simpsons and like on like it was everywhere. Like and I had to watch that documentary to even be reminded of which band Nickelback was, and then like it just didn't make sense to me. Oh wait, the band that did that is the same band everybody, you know.
You're like, wait, I fucking love that song.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm not mad at it.
I wonder if it was the genre too, because I think what people like to call that genre is like butt rock.
butt rock. Okay.
So like that's what people like to call it. That's not what I call
Yeah,
it. But like
they-
Creed almost falls under that
Yeah,
umbrella.
sure.
Of, like
Creed a little
people,
bit.
I don't know if they got the hate as much as like people just for some reason like to make fun of them because they were also under that umbrella. But again, you hear those songs and you're just like,
Oh,
So like a
I've got
hit.
one. I've got one. Winger.
I don't even know what Winger
Winger
is.
was
know
on.
Winger.
Okay, like Winger
she's
was an
only
80s.
17.
I guess so. Yeah, they were a hair metal band in the '80s, and all of a sudden in the '90s, early '90s, Beavis and Butthead came out, and the uncool kid wore a Winger shirt, and all of a
That's
sudden, and so like Beavis and Butthead destroyed the livelihood.
that kid, dude.
Yeah. Winger did nothing to deserve that, man. Winger,
so wrong.
Winger and Nickelback are absolutely in the same boat.
Dang, look at that kid, dude.
Yeah, and I think that there was like a thing where Winger, like in some way communicated to Mike Judge, the creator of Beavis
Yeah.
and Butthead. They were like, "Dude, why'd you do that to us? Like, you don't understand. You destroyed."
Oh,
our-
really?
our
It, like,
whole
actually
thing."
got-
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, like they're
Because
bummed.
that show was like huge, right? I
dude,
was
for
born in
sure.
like 1990, and so I kind of like missed that
Yeah.
window of
Oh,
that.
dude,
but
it was epic, and they had like multiple movies in theaters. That was kind of the model which Jackass followed. MTV half-hour show into
Yeah.
a movie. I mean, Beavis and Butthead made that possible for us. I feel like.
wow,
But yeah, okay. So you mentioned in the world of country before you brought up Florida Georgia Line. I'm fascinated with comparing country to hip hop. Like everybody's got their top five. It's super subjective. Everybody's top five is different. Is that how it works in country, or does it work more like Mount Rushmore, where it's just undeniable?
ooh, man, I would say right now
It would have to be top five.
there's more top fiver people there's more of that going on, I think, right now than anything. The people love to argue over who is top 5.
Same with rap.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a top 5? And if not, can
In country or hip hop?
Whoa, let's go both.
I definitely probably do in hip hop for sure.
Have you listened to this new Kendrick Lamar album?
I did, but it was in Vegas and it was like 3 nights ago, so I can't necessarily say it had my full attention.
Oh man.
Tracker loves it. I have not sat down and like really listened to it.
It is so fire. And I mean, I'm not even like claiming to know anything about hip hop. Like I was super into 50 Cent and the G Unit and haven't paid attention since.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I just played this new Kendrick album and I was like, oh my God, my 81-year-old father who does not understand hip hop, if he heard the first track, Whacked Out Murals, my 81-year-old dad would be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's coming after everybody.
Kendrick is in my top 5.
He's got to be.
So what is your top 5 hip hop?
Hip hop?
Yeah.
Eminem is number 1.
Okay.
All right.
To me. I can go on and on about it. Andre 3000 is number 2 for me.
I don't think you need to prioritize. It doesn't have to be in a certain order.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
But you're already going in order.
But those are definitely my top 2.
Andre 3000 is a great one. Very underrepresented in people's top 5.
Dude, he is unbelievable. I would say Kendrick Lamar. Now you put me on the spot. I would put Wayne on that list, 1,000%.
Okay.
I think that he has bars that are freaking out of this world. And number 5, fifth selection. Oh man.
I mean, I'm gonna say it kind of has to be Jay-Z.
Oh, dude. Okay, yeah, for sure, Jay-Z. I literally was thinking L.A., but Jay-Z, 100%. Yeah.
So,
Andre to me is the most important person on that list.
Oh,
though.
dude, I could not agree more. I went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College in 1997. And there's like clowning, like to be a clown is like very different than to be a mime, but still it's like expressive. Like the circus, you know, the big audience. The real purpose for a clown is if there's a terrible accident, like on the trapeze or anything, like if anybody gets like, you know, trampled by an elephant, like they want to like have the clowns rush out and be like divert attention, you know? Also, if they're just setting up the trapeze and stuff, that's why it was a 3-ring circus. Like in one ring, they're going to be breaking it down or setting it up, so they'll divert the attention to another ring. And clowns are like, hey, look over here, look over there. And the idea was to be compelling, like without necessarily doing much, is the way you move. And after I graduated from clown college, I saw an Outcast performance, and I was like, just from the perspective of being a circus clown, I was so butthurt with jealousy to watch Andre 3000, just the way he moved on the stage, like doing absolutely nothing but walking across a stage. He did it. His movements were just so mesmerizing.
That's
like
cool.
Just the style of like, and I was just like, oh God, he's got this talent that I'm so jealous of.
It reminds me, when you say that, of peak drug like era Scott Weiland.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And he would kind of do that same thing, and like just in musical breaks and stuff. But yeah, there's certain, it's like a way that people carry themselves. It's funny to watch somebody and you can like see an entertainer and be like, that person is trying too hard.
Sure.
But then watch somebody that is just, it's effortless, but it's so fucking badass, and you're like, that person, they have the crowd like right here, and they're not really doing anything,
Right.
but they are, you know.
I would say that the effortlessness applies to Andre 3000 in a way that I don't think it applied to Scott Weiland. Or if anything, with Scott Weiland, it felt more one-dimensional of a thing, where Andre 3000 just oozes cool.
Yeah.
Like, just coolness.
Yeah.
You know? I think Kendrick oozes coolness, too.
I've never seen a video of Kendrick live, but I know that he carries himself in a great way.
Yeah, and there's just a cool factor you can't put your finger on, and I will go so far as to say that Drake doesn't have it. Okay, you know, I said that.
We know where you stand now, dude. Fair enough.
Yeah, okay, so let's switch it over to country. Like,
Okay.
is this a controversial question? Is this landing you in the hot seat?
No, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Okay.
They're gonna. I could say the perfect top 5, and somebody's gonna talk shit. So it's
Okay.
fine. Willie Nelson,
Right.
Willie and Waylon, Johnny Cash. George Jones, George Strait. There's a lot of like honorable mentions, but I truly believe. Oh man, there's so many though, dude.
I mean, that almost seems like
but you got to put Dolly. You got to say
I was gonna
put
say
Dolly in
too.
there.
Then it all that seems all very much like if it's appropriate, the old guard.
I think
Right?
so, but I feel like it's. I mean, for some reason, my brain just doesn't go to like Alan Jackson and these people. It's like I don't really know why though, because I mean, they could definitely be considered top 5 acts. Garth, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Garth is not of the old school, not of the new school, but a distinct middle school.
Junior high, if you will.
But I mean, the new guard. You know, you got Jason Aldean,
Yeah, Luke Bryan,
Luke Bryan, Morgan Wallen.
Blake Shelton, Morgan Wallen, Zach Bryan. People really think Zach is going to be like the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
There it is.
FGL was enormous. Brooks and Dunn, Reba, Alan Jackson. I mean, there's so many. Toby Keith,
Right?
rest his soul.
And okay, now here's the craziest thing to me about country music is that when you asked somebody for decades and like my entire life, as I remember it, you ask somebody what kind of music do they like, a typical answer for the majority of all people was, "Oh, I listen to just about anything except country." My, how things can change. I used to not even care about my sleep or how many calories I burned or what my recovery was, all these things. And now I care about it so much and I'm so much healthier for it. I keep track of all this with my Whoop band. And I've started my own community on the Whoop app where I'm sharing all of my like exercises with maps. I'm even giving glimpses into the guests that we have coming up. I mean, little like secret inside sharing. And all of us in this group know how hard we're working on our fitness, and we all encourage each other to work harder. It's awesome. And man, I just love my Whoop. It's the most sophisticated fitness tracking device known to man. And you've got your little dashboard that tells you everything going on with your body. I can't recommend it enough. And if you want to try it, then you go to join.whoop.com/Stevo. And that's not only going to get you started with free hardware, you're going to get the actual device and the waterproof charger totally for free. You're also going to get your first month for free. So get out of here. What a deal. If you don't like it, send it back. No problemo. But I'm telling you, you are going to love it. And you'll automatically be able to join my group and communicate with me. So to do this, go to join.whoop.com/Stevo. And I'll see you in the Stevo Raw community. Yeah, dude. Now let's ride it home, guys.
Ah, that's funny.
Like
That was me growing up.
Yeah, like people hated on the idea of country, and now everybody's racing from every other genre into country.
Yeah. I think that this is not the right way to say it, but this is like, to me, country became cool to everybody for the first time ever. And I don't know how to like really articulate that, but I think for the longest time, country was only cool to people that lived that lifestyle and that grew up in that lifestyle. And it was really hard, I think, for people to relate to something that they didn't understand. And now the writing process and all of that has broadened so much that a song like Last Night by Morgan Wallen could relate to somebody that lives in Manhattan just as much as somebody that lives in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
That's fair.
I don't know.
Is it fair to say like Lil Nas X with that song like kind of brought it in? Because after that,
Absolutely,
it's like
I do.
then
I
it's
do.
like, oh, hip hop and country.
I think
Like
that
what
opened
even
a
is
huge-
hip hop and country now? Now you have Beyonce's doing country, Post Malone's doing country.
That was a big, I think prior to that, and a lot of people I think missed this one, but Sam Hunt was a guy that like, he was the first guy that really, of course you have Colt Ford and you have other groups that did their kind of like,
Ooh, Ween.
Thing.
Ween had a country album.
did they?
Yep. Ween had a country album. You know who else had a country album? MDC, the punk band.
I did not know that. Was it like, were they doing it? Because Ween was obviously doing it to be funny though, right? That's kind of the thing.
I mean, like, whether they're trying to be funny or not, they
still did
definitely
it?
made a country album. And I was like, wait a second, I was really into Ween. What's this?
Dude, they have a song. I could be. I don't know if it's one of their biggest songs. I have no idea. But Your Party, they have a song called Your Party, and it's just a song about him and his wife went to this party, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. I don't know why, but yeah, I think to answer your question, the Lil Nas X moment was huge for what is happening right now in country. I think he completely broke a mold on people like Beyonce. People like Post Malone. I don't know.
Jelly Roll is like,
Well, he came from hip hop, right?
came from hip hop. Yeah,
His was more almost like,
I mean, he came from hip hop in
intentional.
Tennessee.
yeah.
So,
He's a
like-
Nashville kid. I feel like his was almost more intentional though, and like the Lil Nas thing, just like, I don't know. It was like the first country song to completely blend country and hip hop and go just like stupid viral, like around
Right.
the world.
Yeah.
World viral. That had not been done before. I
Yeah.
don't think.
And like the similar thing back in the 1980s, Aerosmith and Run DMC.
Yeah, so with Walk This Way.
Yeah.
For sure. That's a great example.
Like the like chocolate and peanut butter. You're like, oh wow, you can mix these two things and it's a thing.
Yeah.
So for like you and your peers and like your kind of generation, do you see country music as like, oh, like we're in the heyday, or does it kind of feel like sometimes like, oh, like the old guard, that was the prime, or do you feel like, wow, like we're in the heyday of country music right now?
I've never really given it a thought, to be honest with you. But I think that we are in we're in an era of country that will be remembered for a really long time. I don't know if it's the official heyday,
Yeah.
but I do think that we're in a spot where there are like mega superstars again. No disrespect. I love the genre. I love the people that I have met in every era, but I feel like the 70s and 80s era, there was like a pocket where it was Dolly and it was Willie and it was Waylon,
Kenny
Merle
Rogers.
Haggard, Kenny Rogers, Glenn Campbell even, that are like superstars. And then I feel like it takes maybe a small break. There were amazing artists, but people like Keith Whitley, somebody in Uganda doesn't know who Keith Whitley is, but I guarantee you they know who Willie Nelson is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then I feel like, you know, in the 90s, you had Shania Twain and you had
Garth
Garth. I
Brooks.
feel like it just kind of undulates like that. And I just think that we're in a pretty strong wave right now of people that are becoming superstars.
Yeah,
Who's
it's really
saying
cool.
a country boy can survive?
Hank Williams Jr.
Oh, that's a damn good.
He's
song.
another one. Hell yeah, dude.
He's a 90s guy? In there
That
with
song came
Garth?
out, I think, in the late 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He dominated. He had hits in the 90s, but pretty sure he dominated.
81.
Okay, 81. He was Entertainer of the Year 5 times in a row, or 5 times. Like he kind of dominated. I think the late 70s and 80s. It could have been 90s too, though. I don't know.
I had a tape of country music that my buddy gave me, and I had a rule that if I ever like hit play on that tape cassette, then I was committed to getting completely blind drunk. I was like, oh, we hit play, like that's a commitment, and like you're gonna honor that commitment, and you're gonna build a pyramid.
Yeah, dude. Did you do it? Did you ever do it?
Yeah, and I mean, dude, it was always like it was like a ritual, you know, ritualistic, just blackout drinking.
That's like a thing at our my deer camp back home. It's like my buddies. There is no, you don't play anything but kind of that era of country music, and we just sort of do that.
I got another question about like kind of the parallel between hip hop and country music. Like, you're the only person I've ever heard of coming from country music and calling stuff mixtapes.
Oh yeah,
like mixtapes is a very hip hop thing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely stole, or maybe borrowed is hopefully a better term, that from hip hop. Me and some people from my label sat in a room one day and kind of talked about like the next thing, and that idea just got brought up, and I was like, man, I don't know if anybody's ever just had a original 10 or 12 songs and just threw a bunch of random country artists on it and did a thing, and I just sort of went through it.
Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, the Hixtape.
Hixtape volumes 1, 2, and 3.
Sick.
And these are not albums.
Technically, no. I mean,
so what? Like, yeah, what even
album,
is that? Like,
I don't know. I mean, what's the difference, like, from a publishing, distribution,
nothing?
record label?
I don't think that there's anything, to be honest. But I think.
Like everybody who features on a song or co-writes a song on a mixtape is gonna have the same publishing treatment, the same.
Yeah, I mean that's how we treated mine. Is that every artist on every Hixtape has always split their share evenly, and I feel like an album is like, okay, this is my album, and you're gonna be. I'm not speaking to me, but like the idea of an album is like, and you're gonna feature on it, and that's gonna, that's good for you, but we're not maybe gonna give you like a split the pie like we do with the Hixtape thing.
Got you. So it's maybe a little more casual, but like with a record deal, or like with your record deal, it counts as
it definitely counts as an album. Yeah.
You're like, this.
I was gonna say on the actual business side, yeah, definitely we made sure that counted as an album. It was 10 songs.
And what's the most surreal collab? Because like we were talking, like, dude, the guys you've got to work with.
Man,
like,
have you done some collabs?
What's been the most surreal moment? Like, I can't believe I'm sitting here with like Zakk Wylde or Nickelback or Fred Durst. Like, what's the most?
Post Malone,
dude.
I'm most excited to ask about Dr. Dre and Snoop.
Man, I don't even know if I could choose. I will say, of all the ones, like when Fred. I can't decide, because when I got Fred's version of that song back, and when I got Zakk Wylde's solo back on the Turn You Down song, both of those, I could not believe it, because I was such a huge fan of rock and roll growing up, and like especially in that era was very like an influential time for me. I can't pick between the two of those, but both of those were like that was the coolest. Yeah. But the Dr. Dre and Snoop shit was pretty wild. I didn't technically collab with them, but I definitely like shot a video with them and stuff, and that was fucking insane.
Right. I mean, as I understand the Dr. Dre and Snoop thing, you did a cover of their classic song "Gin and Juice."
Yeah,
like a country cover of it.
Yeah. And
had you reached out and asked permission to do that,
dude? Almost like the opposite in a weird way. The guy that runs my record label and tracker here basically reached out, and they were like, "You're not going to believe this, but Jimmy Iovine just called." This is kind of paraphrasing, but Jimmy Iovine just called, and he wants you to do a cover of Gin and Juice to help promote their Gin and Juice alcohol seltzer line that they're dropping.
That makes sense. That's epic, dude.
I couldn't believe it. And yeah, dude, that picture is fucking insane.
So you do the cover. They're not featuring on the track, but they get involved in a video shoot with you so that they've got that promotional video.
Yeah. So basically, like they were dropping, and it's out now. But they dropped gin and juice, the seltzer.
It's like a canned mixed drink.
Yeah, and it's literally gin and then like a juice flavor or whatever. And yeah, dude, I mean, I committed to it, and then we made the record, and then like next thing I know, like I was on a Zoom call with Dr. Dre, and we're talking about like video ideas. Dre completely took a shit on this guy. It was kind of amazing. Like this dude, who's a really, really great guy and a really creative guy, but we're on this Zoom call, and anyway, the guy pitches his idea, and it's like a 15-minute pitch, and he reads the whole storyline, and he's like, boom, roll credits. And Dre just goes, yeah, I hated that. I didn't like any of that. But I respect that so much, man, because that is how you become the businessman that you are, right? It's just like, you got to be completely honest, and it's all about the best product or whatever. But that was a cool moment. And then we flew out to LA and shot it for 2 days, and they were both obviously there, and I got to hang with both of them, and they were just really great guys and really cool.
Were you blazing hay with them?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was so afraid. Like Snoop, like, you know, there was not like a blunt rotation. There's just him just like chiefing blunts, and I'm not gonna be the guy to just be like, hey, let me get a hit of that. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm really grateful that I can say I smoked weed with Snoop before I got clean and sober.
Yeah, that is like one of the biggest bucket lists of like a human experience. I feel like it'll happen.
I wonder if that should go on my greatest things I've ever seen video list.
Perhaps.
Damn,
you
got
should
a
go
list?
somewhere.
Yeah, I'm working on a video of just the greatest things I've ever like seen / experienced.
I cannot wait to see that or hear that or whatever.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I'll give one away.
Okay.
I did the roast of Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I watched it. That was awesome.
Yeah, in 2011. Everybody got together. It was really cool that after recording the roast, then they take like 2 weeks or so to edit it before it airs on Comedy Central. And Charlie Sheen invited everybody who participated in the roast to his house to watch it, on TV. So I still had my black eyes from diving into Mike Tyson's fist, and it was timed. There's 2 different networks, but he had the whole Tiger Blood thing and left the 2.5 Men, and was subsequently replaced by Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
So they timed it so that the very first episode, or the very first episode of 2.5 Men with Ashton Kutcher played into the roast of Charlie Sheen.
Oh,
it was
man.
like on one of the networks was the 2.5 Men.
Yeah.
But immediately afterwards, it was the roast of Charlie Sheen on Comedy Central. So we're all at Charlie Sheen's house, and he's got the 2.5 Men premiere episode with Ashton Kutcher, and he's not privy whatsoever to what happens in it. He's obviously burned all the bridges, has no communication with anybody involved,
right? Has
no idea how they're gonna introduce the character. And I was standing there in his living room with Charlie Sheen, and the show begins. And it's like one of the characters comes out with an urn, and they're like crying. They're like, "Oh, like Charlie died, and here's his ashes. They've killed off his character like that." And then there's some like slapstick element, and the slips and falls. The urn goes flying up in the air and crashes on the ground, and in the crash is a cloud of ashes, and as the ashes disperse, Ashton Kutcher is revealed in as the ashes disperse. Charlie Sheen looks at that and he goes, "Oh, God damn it, that's good."
Good on him, dude.
Yeah, and then And then in what proved to be a little bit of a controversial moment afterwards, I said to Jeff Ross, dude, Jeff Ross, I think we are in the most expensive crack house on the planet. and then I went running over to Charlie and took a selfie with them. And I said, can I tweet this picture with the caption, I think I'm in the most expensive crack house on the planet? And Charlie says, hilarious, dude, go for it. Totally. So I tweeted it, and then the next day, like, I caught hell from his manager.
Oh, really?
Like, you know, what are you doing calling this a crack house?
Oh, my gosh,
I like
dude.
it funny. It was funny.
That's good.
But yeah, that definitely makes the list of the most outrageous experience. That's
amazing.
Yeah.
one of the greatest things I've ever seen, for sure.
Are you gonna do I've seen like all your videos online and stuff, like just like a quick thing like that, or are you gonna make like a bigger production out of it? Or?
I think that it'll probably end up being a more truncated to the extent that we can communicate it and keep it tighter than the way I just did. But that was a little rehearsal for
yeah, okay, that's
together.
nice. A teaser.
That was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice, but we'll probably want to tighten it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's good.
No,
Yeah,
it'll be
dude.
great. Because it'll be it's like 10 things, you know?
Oh yeah,
so
I can't wait, dude.
we'll crank through it.
Yeah, let's keep going on some of your unbelievable collabs.
Yeah.
Like beyond Post Malone's F1 Trillion album.
Yeah, man, that was cool. A guy that's worked with him for years, Charlie Handsome, moved to Nashville around, I would say almost 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. Kind of fell into the community and wrote a bunch of country songs with a bunch of people. Long story short, when Post came to town to start writing, Charlie and Ernest started reaching out to just all the people we've all been writing together with for a long time, and I got the call and showed up, and there he was. It was pretty crazy. Wrote a song together. He is. Have you met him?
Dude, multiple times. He tattooed this penis on my forehead.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that he did that.
He
That's
did.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Man, he's like the kindest guy in the world.
Like, unbelievably.
It's really cool.
It's a toss up between him and Jelly Roll.
Honestly, yeah.
Like if there's like a
I'm like, do y'all
world
have bad
record-
days? Like, do you ever get pissed off or whatever?
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. I saw a video. It was like a little recording, like low grade, like surveillance camera footage. Like, it was, I don't even know how anybody like thought to pull it, but it was like a standard issue surveillance camera mounted on a wall at like maybe a venue or something. And it was, you saw Post Malone come outside to smoke a cigarette, and you saw like people come up to him, ask him for it, and you could see he's just like he's just kind of like beaten down. He's just like, oh, you're gonna see this is kind of good. And as soon as the people come up to him, he's just like, oh, he just like becomes like the most just energetic, like just attentive, you know, like
Yeah.
and then like. And you know, and when they're done, they've got their photo and stuff. Then they turn around and walk away, and you can just see like he's like back to the exhaustion. To you know, like
It's like usually people would be the opposite.
exactly.
Yeah.
They see the exhaustion, and then more people come, and he's like, oh, like you know, you can just
Man.
see the effort, the effort, the kindness, the like just the. He cares so much about every single interaction with every single person, like when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Like that's what.
Yeah, like that was real. That was security footage.
100% real. Like nobody was watching, and like you could see the burnout when he wasn't dealing with people.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like so many other people would be the other way. They'd be like pretty cool, and then like people walk up and they're like, oh, I gotta deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that dude, man.
Yeah, he is, man. It's been such a pleasure to get to know him, and I like just such a huge fan of him. So like to just they say it's like what's the never meet your heroes kind
Yeah.
of thing, and sometimes it happens and you meet people that you love and they're not what you thought they were, but man, he is like exceeded every expectation ever.
Yeah,
Such a
and
good guy.
I've heard you rave about his approach to making a country album, if that's what we're gonna call F1 Trillion.
Yeah.
And how he just like immersed himself, kind of like like an actor will do method acting. And
Yeah.
he's just the character.
Dude, it's
around
honestly
the clock.
exactly that, man. He went to the bars that we all go to, and he
Just
wrote-
lived here for 6 months.
Yeah, and just lived. He just became a Nashville cat, man. And he wrote with writers that just songwriters that are that have hits, but like people you would never recognize in the grocery store, or that, you know what I mean? Like just people that were just talented and just good Nashville. I just respect that, man. It takes a lot of effort and time to pull up your roots wherever they are and go somewhere else to do something really creative and to like invest your life. And dude, 6 or 8 months of your time into that. It was really cool to watch.
Does earnest count in that sense, like being a songwriter, and then like kind of like you were a songwriter, you didn't even want to be an artist, and then you were like, all right, I guess I'll be an artist. Is that kind of how Ernest's trajectory went?
He'll have to answer that, but he and I have very, very similar paths for sure.
Yeah.
Like we were just Ern. When I met Ern, he was his name was Snow, and he was a rapper.
Oh, dude, rad.
Yeah, and but he was a Nashville kid, and he was a rapper, but he and I would write country songs all the time. And
So how long have you known him?
I've known Ern for 10 years, probably.
It's epic,
It's
man.
about to be 2025. Yeah, probably around 10 years.
I forget who it was that put us in touch with one another. We've not met in person, but like we connected like on Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, here's my cell number. But like I'm really looking forward to meeting him.
You should, man. He's a character. He's
Oh,
a
dude,
good.
I know
he's just
that.
he's really, really talented, man. Gosh, he's plays all the instruments. He's a great writer. He's
And
a
he's
great singer.
funny,
He's
huh?
funny as fuck, dude. Some of the hardest that I have laughed in the last 5 years have been with Ern. He is a funny guy.
Yeah, dude. He wrote a song for F1 Trillion. Is he on it too?
Dude, I think he wrote every song on the album just about. Dude, he really like. So the only thing that I will say that post the process was he brought his like the LA process to Nashville. So like Nashville, you get up and you go to Music Row or wherever, and you write a song at 10, 10:30, 11, and you're done at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's your day. But they definitely did it a little more LA style, and we started like 6 p.m., 7, 8 p.m., and then we would write until 6 or 8 in the morning or whatever. And there were a few times that I saw Ern about 2 weeks into that whole process, and he was just, he had 2-gallon bags under his eyes, dude. And he's like, I'm fucking exhausted, dude. But he's got a ton of cuts on that record. He wrote like a bunch of songs. He really put in the work. It was really cool.
Dude, that's epic, man.
In terms of like writing process, is there a huge difference from like writing a rap song to a country song to a pop song? And like, what is that like?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think I know what you're gonna say. It's all about the lyrics with country.
100%. I
But
mean,
with rap, is it not? I mean,
it
what do you
is,
tell
but
me?
I think I've never been on like a hip hop session, so I really don't know. But
Okay.
I would imagine, because I've kind of been around that sort of thing, is that like a lot of rap, especially recently, back in like the days, like the 50 Cent days and stuff. Like I think that they would write a hook, they'd write a chorus, and I think the rappers would have a pad and pen and really sit down and think about the lyric, and then they go do it. But I think
And
a
I
lot
think
of
the
it.
beat would come first too. A lot of the time.
I think so, definitely. I feel like.
They hear a beat and they're like, "Oh, this beat is fire! Like,
For
what
sure.
am I gonna put on this?"
Yeah, and it was a little more, what's the word, like methodical, thought out or whatever. And with country, man, it tends to always start like you'll go 2 or 3 people will come sit in a room, and usually these days you have a guy like a track guy is what people call him, right? And then instead of beats, they're like country beats, right? It's like sounds like something you'd hear on the radio, but you just throw out ideas. And it's always like the concept I find has over the 15 years or whatever, that comes first 95% of the time. So you have to like everybody in the room has to be on the same page with a concept, whatever that is, with a story, with an idea, and from there, I mean, it either you start with the chorus or you start with the usually a verse 1 or the chorus, and yeah, it's all about lyrics. Melody is not as important in country. I think it's becoming more important, but I do think that like lyric overrides melody, because in country there's melodies on top of listen to like the 90s. Even country was founded on changing lyrics to hymns that were like sung in church, right? So it's kind of a thing that the melodies are sort of a standard thing a lot of times in country, but the lyrics are always the most important. Yeah.
Do a lot of songs start with like sort of the like punchline that like woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed? Like,
Not
hey,
always.
that's a great little like kind of.
Sometimes
line.
I'm trying to think like Morgan Wallen's Last Night, like that starts with the chorus, right?
Yeah.
Cruise was started with the chorus. I can't even think, but I mean, I love starting a song with a chorus. I have like 5 or 6 songs that are like that. And I just feel like the way I write songs, especially for myself, I write with the mindset of like, how is this gonna go over live? And it's a lot of times if you write a chorus first and you feel like it's a big chorus, that just for some reason, those songs that I have in my set that start with the chorus, it's just like an explosion, you know what I mean, of people that are so excited to sing it as opposed to waiting 30 seconds to hear it for the first time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, come right with
I
it.
just had a shitty thought that I was like, oh, dude, that reminds me of making YouTube videos. It's so important, the title and the thumbnail, you know, like where like
well, yeah, because it draws people in or whatever.
And it's like the thing you sort of remember, like
and I mean, it's like if you're to make and I feel like a little bit that's what you're describing. If you're gonna make a YouTube video, you think, okay, let's start with what's the title of the video that's gonna like really engage people and get this thing to take off.
Like what's the concept?
And then kind of reverse engineer from the title.
Sure.
Totally.
Yeah, sometimes it's that way. Most of the time it's that way for us.
That's how it is in country music, according to Hardy.
Correct.
I feel like it's really hard to write towards nothing. So if you don't have an idea, country is so based on like, again, just a central idea of some kind. And when you're just walking in a direction and you don't really know where you're going to land, I feel like a lot of times you're hooked. Your line at the end of the chorus, the thing that really, grabs you is going to suck if you're just going to make something up at the end of the chorus. You know?
It feels like with country music, it's a lot of like sitting down and let's do the work of like writing this song. Whereas like maybe a rapper or a rock singer would just like, oh dude, I was like checking out the grocery store and it fucking hit me like, or like I've had this in my head a lot. Like, does that happen a lot with your songs? Or is it like it comes out of like, let's sit down, let's write this song and like
Both.
put in the hours?
Yeah.
There's just no rhyme or reason to like any of it.
Yeah.
You got the notepad in your phone, right? And you'll add to that thing if you're in the
100%.
grocery store.
Or like voice memo, like
all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be with my wife. I've done this many times, and not have my phone or my phone's dead. And I'll be like, text me this right now. And I'll just like read her something and she'll just text it to me. So I know I'll have it. So I won't forget it if I don't have a way to write it down. But it could come from anywhere at any time. It's pretty wild.
Sweet.
Same thing with like a new way to shove something up my butt.
Yeah, dude. Just out of the blue, dude. Just literally anywhere.
I mean, it could come to me in a dream. Or it could be like, I'm at the grocery store. Like, oh my God, like that could fit.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
You mentioned your wife. Like, you're still going to be a dad or you are a dad?
Still going to be a dad.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, she's getting back from probably in about an hour. She lands. She came back from Paris. She went on a little trip with her friend, and they just got back from Paris. I haven't seen her in like a week, and it's funny. She posted some pictures, and it's fun. It's almost like I've heard like having a kid, but she looks like completely different. Even having not seen her for a week, but yeah, we're getting really close. We're the end of February is our due date. So
okay.
We're getting close.
Exciting.
2 months out, just somewhere around there.
For a second, I thought you were gonna be like, she's giving birth right now.
In about an hour.
She's at the hospital now, actually.
Yeah, in about an hour, she's.
That's exciting.
Dude. So that to me is terrifying, man. Like the idea of creating a person. It's a responsibility that I wouldn't be able to. I think I respect how intense of a responsibility that is. And
yeah, man, I don't know yet. I'm excited and I love the thought of being a parent. And it's scary though. It's definitely scary. I mean, this will be our first one. So it's scary for sure.
So you did the gender reveal.
Yeah. What did we do? Oh yeah, we damn, what did we do? Oh, we painted our yeah. We painted our room and pink. Yeah, nothing crazy. I never like.
Oh my God.
I didn't want to do like the airplane flying over and the fucking pink going everywhere. And all that.
Did you see Anthony Jeselnik's new special?
No.
It is so awesome.
Dude, I think he's funny as shit.
That guy.
He was on Sheen. He did the Charlie Sheen. I know he's done a bunch of them, but
he is my hero. I think that guy's comedy is so fantastic. What does he say? He says,
he's got a beard now. He looks good. He looks like good with a beard.
It's got this one joke. He says, a pregnant woman got hit by a train, or a gender reveal.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
However he put it, it was just like, I mean, he literally just makes an entire hour out of killing babies. Just, like, he's the best.
I'm pretty sure my favorite joke of his from man, this is terrible. From the Sheen thing was the one. We might have to cut this, but maybe not. Charlie Sheen, you've caused more women to have abortions than the prenatal test for Down syndrome.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's Anthony Jeselnik, dude.
Like, it's so good. I've listened to like him on podcasts and stuff. He seems like a really nice guy.
Dude, for sure. I just, awesome. I cannot ride his dick hard enough. I'm such a fan.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'll go watch it tonight, man. That sounds.
Dude, it's really.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's his new Netflix.
It is. It's so good, man. Well, right on, man. So you're getting ready to be a dad.
Yeah.
What's up with the touring? How hard are you touring right now?
I'm not touring at all, but I will. I will tour starting again next summer. So I've got like 2 or 3 months, and then we hit the road, and Nashville style is like. You're gone for 3 days and then you're back, pretty much. So you kind of hub from Nashville, and you either like if you have a West Coast run, like you'll fly out and you might do 2 weeks on the West Coast. But really, Nashville's home because it's so even though it's so southeast, central. It's pretty central.
That's why it's the home of every tour bus company in the world.
No, seriously, I mean that's like a thing. So you can you can get to New York here in a night.
So not touring at the moment.
No, my last show was I very thankfully did 2 nights at Red Rocks.
That's the one that you recorded for the potential live album.
Yeah, that's for the potential. Have we announced that? I can't remember what we've announced. We've announced the live album. Yes.
Yeah, because I saw that.
I heard the first recording the other day, and it is going to be so awesome. I'm so excited, and it really does. I feel like it was. It captured what it felt like to be there. But man, it was so. I had never even been to the venue, and it lived up to the hype so much. It was so freaking cool.
Talk about a parallel between comedy and music. That's like recording a special.
Yeah,
you did
100%.
You did 2 shows,
and you pick the best. I didn't know. Right. So, do you have to wear the same clothes?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's the good thing about us. It's just audio, so as long as you sound the same, like
you got to wear the same clothes, and for me, like agonize over like which hand was holding the mic at which moment in the show, and where on the like the timing of like you kind of pace back and forth while you're doing it. Like, where was I?
Like remembering were you here for this great punchline and all that kind of shit. Man, that's pretty wild. I've always wondered. Obviously, it's like. You have to wear the same outfit, but I've never really thought about how full your drink has to be and stuff like that.
I mean,
it's pretty wild.
I'm particularly just neurotic and psycho, and maybe,
that's a good thing, though, man.
OCD.
Care about the craft, man. I feel that.
I mean, dude, yeah, like I love it, man. I'm an attention whore through and through.
Ain't we all deep down?
Yeah. Well, right on, dude. Now. I won't ask what the new tour, how it's different. We'll leave that. That's gonna come later.
It's just, I would just say I'm extremely excited about it, and it's gonna be awesome. I will say I have I've been in the studio also, so I can say that I've got a lot of music coming next year as well that I'm really, really, really excited about too. So,
it's still like leaning into rock and roll.
you know, this next album is just at the risk of sounding like I'm kissing my own ass, but it's just a hearty album, and it's just like we quit. My last album was like a full on, like we pushed it in the rock genre. And I'm kind of taking a step back now and just like putting out music and letting people decide what they want it to be. To me, it almost feels genreless, but in a good way, you know. And so that's the way I'm treating this one. It's just you get what you get. There's a little bit of everything.
Dude, I love it, man. Yeah, why conform to a sound?
Yeah, you know, it's just whatever you want it to be, brother.
Dude, I love it, man. Is there anything that we're missing that we haven't touched on?
Man, I don't know. I killed a good deer yesterday. I was pretty stoked about that.
Boy.
Dope.
I killed a big. It was like I don't know if y'all are hunters, but a big like 4-year-old 6-point. It was like a big old brute 6-point, which is not super common. So I was pretty stoked about that.
I'm like the dead opposite of a hunter. Like I have an animal sanctuary at my house, but here's the thing. I have tremendous respect for hunters, and I base that on my personal belief that once you become an adult in America, I feel that if you want to eat meat, you should have to obtain a license to do so. And in order to get that license, you should have to kill an animal. Because if you're not willing to kill an animal, I don't think you should be allowed to eat an animal.
Damn, dude. That's pretty. Don't know if I've heard that one before.
I think it makes sense. That, like there's a saying that if slaughterhouses had clear glass windows for walls, a lot of people would not eat meat.
Yeah, like you have to. I've said this for years, but like every deer I kill, there's like I don't know if everybody's like this, but I've always had a feeling of like
responsibility to use the whole thing.
Well, that 100%, but I definitely, you feel not bad, but there's just a moment of like grief that I've always had. Every single deer, every animal I've ever harvested, we'll put it that way. There's like a moment of grief, and I find that to be like a good thing, and I think that's an interesting way of thinking that people should have to go through that sort of.
I mean, but you put it this way, you know, like there all kinds of people. When you say I killed a deer, they're like, oh, I find that offensive. Like hunting is not my values. But that same asshole will turn around and get a quarter pounder.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
And so like it's somehow okay to contribute to factory farming, which is the worst.
Yeah,
factory farming is like absolute like the devil, but they're not willing to. You know, I respect the hunters.
Man, that's a very interesting way to look at it. I've never heard that before. I like it though. I really do.
I think it makes sense to me, man. I'm sticking to it. So thank you.
Hell yeah.
Dude, thank you for doing this, man.
I enjoyed it, man. Thank you. I've been a fan for a long time, so I really appreciate it.
I appreciate that a lot. And in my little intro, I mean it, dude. You're an American treasure, dude.
Thank you, man.
Evidenced by the reaction.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate
Chase?
that.
That's right, brother.
Yeah, my neighbor Chase. I said I'm gonna go record with Hardy. He said, "Oh man,
let's go, man. That's awesome."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I love it. Like Chase here is my neighbor. He the retired firefighter.
Oh, cool.
Still a volunteer firefighter.
Right on.
Used to driving a 45-foot long fire truck, so has no issue with my piece of shit tour bus.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for your service, man.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, dude, thank you again. And,
dude, thank you, brother.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Good luck with parenthood, man.
I appreciate it, man. I need all the luck I can get, I think. I appreciate it.
I feel like a jerk that I didn't introduce to Hardy that you have your own music career.
Yeah.
Do you?
I make music too, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I feel like a fucking idiot when I talk to you. No, like, it's like hip hop mostly.
Sick.
But you took such a direct route. I've been more the like, I'll be in my room like smoking weed, making music, and someday someone's gonna figure out how good this shit is.
Bro, that happens to people all the time.
But someday someone's
time.
gonna figure out how good this shit is.
What's it called? I'll go check it out.
My band's called. I got a few, but I have a band called That Kid Is You.
Okay.
I'll play. I also have a band with my wife called the Modern Mystics.
Okay.
I'll play you that. I'm actually kind of.
What is she a singer? And does she play
She's a
instrument?
singer. Yeah.
Was that easy going or what? I mean, I can't remember a guest that was that easy to get along with that quickly. There's that fun to talk to. I really enjoyed that. And how about this? The new sign. I do believe that this sign will be in the new ass kicker. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen my my Instagram story, the before and after the new RV. Well, the new RV is now a 4x4 off-roading, overlanding ass kicker like nothing that the world's ever seen before. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I think this sign might be going in there. I don't know. The only thing I know for sure is that I love you for sticking around to the end of the podcast. As always, thank you and have a wonderful day. Yeah, dude.